Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be showing you how I apply the Radiant Rain to the gourds. A lot of you have been asking me for this video for a long time now, and I really love the vivid colors and the metallic looks it has, and I have a person that does carry them, so we'll make sure that we give you that information at the end of the video. So I want to talk to you how the Radiant Rains come. They're by Luminaire Arts, and they come with a spray and a dabber and just a regular lid. Now I'm going to tell you, my experience is don't get the spray, don't get the dabber. The metallic is so thick and it builds up, I'll show you that it just clogs up the lid and it clogs up the spray as well. And I've even actually had it do just the regular lids. As you can see, all of that is down in there, and actually that one wasn't. Here we go, here's one this is the one I was trying to show here. And you can see all that stuff sitting up on top, which is your metallic particles. So they get really cakey. So I don't use any of those items because eventually they're going to get clogged on you and they're kind of a pain to keep cleaned out. So what I do is I just take my lid off and I stir them. And you want to stir them really, really well. And even some of this stuff that's up in the lid, if you can get it and bring it back down, because that's your metallic part. See all that was clear up in that lid? And that's just sitting with them sitting. That's not even doing anything with them. And it does take several layers, but you get this great look, what I think is comparable to like the silk paints. And I really like working with this, and I think that the effort is worth the end result. So I just stirred that with like a little popsicle stick or anything, little stick that you have. And then I pour it into a little paint palette dish. I'm sure that's not the correct name for it, but any little thing that has a little pockets for individual paint. You can find that at your craft or hobby store rather inexpensively. And so those are poured in there. Now they are going to settle back down with the metallic going down to the bottom, but that's okay. We're going to work with that because that'll end up on our top part. Now I prepped 2 coyote gourds today, and I used the bead caps, and I glued one on, and I put one on with E6000, and you also can hot glue them or use your quick wood to put them on as well, and that's also a fun thing to do. But I wanted to show you what it looks like with the white underneath, so you get more of the real vibrant colors as well as just a clean gourd look. Now this is even a little bit lighter because this was green pilled in a regular gourd, so you can kind of see both effects. When I'm doing this, I only use my old brushes, and I'm also going to be using just a regular, not your really nice rake brush, just a cheap one. We also have those available if you need a rake brush as well. So I'm going to start with my blue here, and I'm going to kind of put this on, and I'm going to fan the edges out, and I'm going to let that guy dry. And I'm going to do the same with this one over here. Now you can already see the difference between the 2 colors. And this was just white paint. You can use gesso, whatever you want to use. And see how I'm kind of taking my old brush and I'm pulling that out, blending that out, or you can be putting it on with the rake brush as well. I do kind of leave it kind of blotchy. I kind of like the blotchy look, and it kind of gives it layers. Now we're going to just keep on going and applying different layers as we're going, and we're going to let those dry. I'm going to have to bring a fan in here and show you a layer at a time. A little bit elapsed videotaping here. And I'm going to put the green one over here. Should have brought my fan down front with me. And I'm going to put a little bit of paint into these. And the farther I get down, the more I'm going to have a color base, but not only that, is I'm going to have the layers underneath. And I usually do at least 4 to 5 layers. And this is also a product that Barbara Moore carries, and this is the Luminaire's Pure Radiance, and it's similar to the Radiant Rain. I wanted to kind of get that on a couple of these so we could kind of see that color. And usually I'm working on a bigger gourd, so I have a few layers at a time that I've got drying before I switch to the next color over. We could bring in our heat gun here, which is maybe what I need to do on these, and get them drying. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to get some fan or my gun set up here, and we'll start doing these in layers so you can kind of see them as they're going. Okay, now that I've got my heat gun in here, and I was remembering that when I'm working with these, I always do use my heat gun as I'm working. I'd forgotten that part of it. So I have one layer on this color here, and I can't remember which color the name of this one was, but it's kind of a poppy red or orangish looking. And remember, we want to bring these kind of out. You can use a rake brush or a old scruffy brush, and you're going to keep drying them in between here. And it is easier with a board that you can hold on to instead of one that you have to grab with your hand. And I'm going to switch over to the rake brush here, and I'm sticking with the same color still. Just bring out those edges a little bit more. You can see the color difference between the one with the gesso and the natural one. And I actually prefer the natural one at this point in time. Now I'm going to start dipping down in and get a little bit of that metallic that's at the bottom. A lot of times I will have that part as my last little dab kind of down in there, so it's really, really kind of thick when you're doing it. So this is my third coat. Give that one a second to dry, and we'll put our third coat on our white one. See that real neat effect you get by just leaving it and letting it dry? I really like that look. And I'm gonna dig down in here and get this metallic part. So the metallic part ends up being more on the top this way. So you get that bright shininess. And usually if I do it right, I have used up all my paint, so that's all that's left. But I filled my paints a little bit more than I probably should have. You always can add to them if you end up using it beforehand, but that way the metallic part ends up on top. Put the rest of this metallic right on top. I'm not sure if the pure Radiance has as much metallic as the Radiant Rain, but they're very similar. Switch over to, we'll start a purple one here, and then I am going to do some of them, so you don't have to sit here and wait for me. So let's go ahead and do purple one here. On those grouts, just grab those with your finger if you've got too much paint on there. Just lift them up. Got one layer. And brush that into that other layer. You also can use a mascara brush, an old mascara brush that you cleaned out as well. Feather your two colors together. So we've got two layers on it. I'm going to try and pick some of this metallic up. And you start to see that metallic come through now. Real pretty color. I see that other one is really coming through really nicely now. You got that shine on it. So we've got 3. Put 4 on this guy. You're dipping down and you're getting all that metallic color out right now. how gorgeous that's turning. And you're really getting a really nice, vibrant color. It does just take a little bit of work. So I'm going to go ahead and do some more layers, and then we'll come back. Okay, I have put all the different layers on, and we've come back. And I want to show you, see if you can tell the difference between the one done with the gesso and the one done without the gesso. I don't think there's too much of a difference. It may be just a little bit brighter color. And the pure radiance compared to the radiant rain seems to be just as bright, maybe a little bit brighter. It just doesn't seem to be quite as metallic-y to me, but I really like it just as well. So we've got all of our little guys all nice and done, and you have these real rich colors, and that's what I really like, and I think that's what a lot of people see, is those real rich colors. The thing that I want to tell you is when you're putting it on with your brush, don't overload your brush and have all the runs and everything, and put several coats on, heat in between. Keep putting coats on until you get the color you like. It does take a little bit of time, but once you've done it, you're going to really think it's worth it. And make sure on that last layer or two that you're putting the metallic on top. That's really what sets it off. Now there's one more thing that I usually do on mine just to kind of blend it all in. I've taken a wet sponge and squeezed all the water out, and then I'm going to take Gold metallic acrylic paint, and I'm going to come back in and I'm going to sponge it a little bit. And there's a couple of ways you can do it, and on this one I'm kind of sponging where the two colors meet, and what this is doing is actually blending it in so the two areas kind of meet a little bit nicer. And also when you're putting your colors on, make sure you fan them out a little bit. So we've kind of just followed where our colors meet and just brought them up a little bit. You can bring it across some little colors. You can put a little bit here and there. But that really, as you can see, really helps blend that in a little bit better. Don't over sponge. You want to pounce your color off before you put it on. Now this one, we'll just kind of put some random colors here and there in it, just to kind of blend it all together. You could use like a pearlescence maybe, or a silver, but I would make sure they're kind of a metallic color. But see how that just brings those together so much better. Even after you're done with that, it just kind of sets them off a little bit. So that is how I do the Radiant Rain. If you have any questions, email me at art@miriamjoy.com. And we're always playing with stuff. Go over to our Facebook page, check out there, see what new products we have at miriamjoy.com. And we're always up to something. Thank you for taking time to join me today. God bless.